Unit 6 and Unit 7, Emily, interactive media production. What did you enjoy about it?
I just found it was interesting to look at something different. So looking at different films, short interactive films, and figuring out what was there, what sort of things made an interactive film,
Okay.
anything like that.
Had you ever used an interactive product before we...
No.
No? Okay. So what did you like about creating your own interactive short film?
That I got the feel of actually using it. So creating my own one actually gave me an inspiration that I might want to do something like that if I ever went into uni and done something. That would be one thing to focus on.
I think you quite liked, in the planning, you and your partner come up with your idea quite quickly, but you quite like the idea of having a narrative, but it would have different options. I think you was quite excited by that. Your research folder is the best research folder you've done to date. It was focused, specific and clear. You've drawn clear and detailed findings from each source and largely conclusions which imply how this information will be used to inform your planning. So, for example, you said something such as, having just watched 2 interactive short films, I will design my own buttons when the audience decide what pathway they will take for the story. The buttons will reflect the genre of the story. I'll also change the background music from the one that is being used in our short interactive film to a different one that is suitable for the genre, but also say that the audience don't get tired of the same background music. So specifically, you were saying, in these interactive short films, they have buttons, they do this, they do that, and you're saying, that's a convention, so I need to make sure that I include that in my own work. Don't feel that every time you research something, if they include it, you feel like you have to therefore have it in your product. What you can also is just consider the findings and say, might be able to use that in my final product, might be able to consider it in the planning, however, maybe I need to do more research to consider whether it's something that I want to use. Don't feel like just because they do it, you have to use it, okay?
That's fine.
Your overall valuation, as always, where are we? Here. Is fantastic. You've identified your main findings and really considered how they'll influence your planning. In your overall evaluations, you always go back and revisit all of the points you've already said, but kind of do an overall summary, and I think it kind of cements in your head what it is you've actually found out, so keep doing that, it's really good. There's a great range of secondary research, you use more than one source for each topic, and your research is specific, but broad in terms of the range of topics. You've looked at production research and content research. Fantastic. For FMP, don't forget about audience research. It's really important so you can look at your audience, think about what it is that they like, what they need, how they consume media, when they consume media. That's probably the area of research that I think you need to work on for your final major project. Okay? Your bibliography's been well prepared. For FMP, greater emphasis on why you have moved from one research source to the next. So this research commentary, and you're looking at me with your smiling. So make sure that's there. And you're evaluating your own research skills better. So don't be afraid to critique you as a researcher. Okay? And let's now look beyond websites and films, hellos, books and journals.
Yes.
Okay? Pre-production, your storyboard had been excellently prepared. Digital is a really great idea for you. I think, like me, I hate drawing. So when it comes to the storyboard, it's just like, oh, I just want to get it over and done with. But the digital method, I think you actually quite enjoyed, and I think it helped you visualise what your film would look like. Your interactive flowchart is really clear. I could have taken your paperwork and filmed this production on my own, which is a sign of a really good pre-production folder. For FMP, don't be afraid to cast and source, okay? I think props, costumes, locations, casting is the area that you need to work on most, okay? You're very good at filling the paperwork out, you're very good at researching, evaluating, analysing, but you are become scared when it means thinking about doing something which doesn't require a bit more hard work. So I don't mean that in the sense that you're lazy, because you're not, but I mean in the sense of going out and, what I always say, knocking on doors. Okay, so don't use a location just because it's next to the college and it's convenient. Use a location because it's completely what you need. Okay, really think about what people are wearing in your shots, because everything in set counts. Okay, so we'll move into production in a minute, but people wearing lanyards when they're in a psychiatrist scene, I'm as an audience member, I'm supposed to be reading into that. Okay, so you really need to consider mise en scène. Everything in set counts, okay, and it's evoking meaning to the audience. You must make sure that you're really considering that. So even if for FMP, down a radio pathway, everything there is there for a purpose. You've casted your presenter or whoever for a purpose. Your idents are reflective of your aim, okay? Just make sure that everything there has been well thought out and it's not rushed, okay? Now, then we move into the production, okay? What did you think about your final product?
It was okay. I didn't mind it. I thought I'd done really well with editing, putting narrative strands in, and getting used to a different program I'd never used before.
I agree with the edit, okay? I think this is probably your best edited piece to date, okay? I agree with you getting to get to grips with interlude or echo, whatever we're going to call it. And at times you were showing me how to do things, so really, really good. Filming is still an area that we need to work on, okay? Now, you are improving, which is exactly what I want you to do. I know radio is your preferred pathway, okay? But in terms of filming, okay, the largest thing that let this product down was the casting, okay? Because in parts, it's so comedic that I forget that it's a psychological horror, okay? Now, take time to consider casting props and costumes. Steve has a collared lanyard around his neck. He smiles during what should be a dramatic opening scene, and it sounds very scripted. So consider rehearsals, even for radio. If you don't want it to sound scripted, you need to make sure that people are aware of the topics they're going to discuss and just let them go for it, okay? I think the psychiatrist scene is far too long, but I like your decision to cut the footage of him walking around the building on his way out and cutting straight to him walking out of the building. Think about what's crucial and of importance to add into the narrative and present it to the audience. Everything else should be cut out. This said, although you're trying to disguise the face of the psychiatrist because it becomes an integral part of the story, I think there needs to be a bit more variety of shots. That opening psychiatrist scene is a little bit static, okay? As he leaves, we can see Barnfield College in the background, and then as an audience member, I'm confused. Now I thought he was at a psychiatrist building, suddenly he's leaving a college. That's what I mean in terms of everything in set counts. All of the sound stops and leaves the office. This seems a little bit odd. So why did you do that? Why did you take the sound out?
Because the background sound would have clashed with the music I would be playing in the background, so I didn't want the sound and the background music clashing.
Okay. When the headphones goes in, I think the music should reflect this, whereas the soundtrack comes in a little bit after, and for me, it's a little bit too conventional and almost bordering on cheesy, okay? The volume levels raise and lower quite sharply. This said, you've cut the attack arriving well to the high tempo, and as the tempo changes the music, then the attack arrives, and you'd thought that out in place, so well done. Steve suddenly stops, and I felt as an audience member I should have heard the noise that he hears. Again, that comes down to this music overpowering the scene, okay? I text a friend, and I credit you because in post you realised you didn't have that clip and you went out, didn't panic, problem solved and went and refilmed it. When you turn around, I think it's a good decision to switch the camera angle, so we're now in a position of where the attacker would be, and then you cut the music, which is good because that obviously evokes emotions to the audience, so well done. I can hear a bit audio off camera at times, and the pans are quite shaky, so remember to use the tripod. Good use of point of view to show the struggle and the fall, that was well shot. But then it returns to show Steve and the psychiatrist struggling, and Steve is standing again, so I think there's been a bit of an issue in continuity there. When he decides, if you choose hide behind the tree, it's this very weird section where Steve picks up a stick and throws it, and then he hides behind the tree. For me, that just seemed a little bit odd in the script. And
I think it was to draw the attacker away while Steve ran and hid away.
Okay, again, that comes down to poor casting and the fact that the actor almost looked comedic, okay? I think it ends quite abruptly, okay? So for me, make sure you don't rush and that you are thinking about the narrative and make sure that the audience are kept engaged throughout the whole way, okay? But much better compared to your previous projects. Still an area I need to work on, but I'm pleased to see the editing was much better in this set, in this project. Moving forward, evaluations and diaries are lots of examples. They're not descriptive. You're thinking about your decision making. For me, the biggest advice moving forward to FNP is research. You need to make sure that you're having this research commentary and that you are... I can't remember what my point was for bigger research now, so I don't want to feed you a false point. Where should I just put that? Give me 1 second. Range, sources. So don't just stick to website and films, think about books and journals. Okay? In terms of pre-production, make sure that the planning, which is always very detailed, is followed through into production. Okay?
Yes.
In terms of production, my biggest advice to you is do not rush. Okay? Because you are so motivated and so conscious in terms of not wanting to miss deadlines that when it gets to post, it's kind of like, yeah, it's done. You spend time listening to that show, making sure make sure that everything is exactly what it should be in reflective pre-production. If it isn't, discuss it in your diary, or don't be afraid to go back and film again or record again. This is your absolute masterpiece. All right?
Yes.
But you're doing really, really well.